Okay, so everybody's got their phone these days, right?
Mm.
And like we use them for everything.
Yep.
Especially in the car.
Oh, yeah, navigation, music, keep it in touch. It's like an extension of the car almost.
Exactly. But the problem is using your phone while you're driving is like super dangerous.
Hmm.
I don't know how many times I've almost missed a turn because my phone's like slid off the seat or something.
You and everyone else, right?
Yeah.
It's like this constant struggle between wanting to use your phone and, actually being safe on the road.
Yeah, and all those like flimsy phone mounts out there, they don't really help.
Right. They're always wobbling around or falling off at the worst possible moment.
Ugh, tell me about it. I had this one suction cup mount that like popped off in the middle of a turn. My phone went flying. Not fun.
Yeah, that's why we're doing this deep dive. To figure out if there's a better way.
Right. So we're looking at this Andobil car phone mount. It's gotten like tons of amazing reviews online. People are saying it's like the best solution for hands-free phone use in the car. But we wanted to see for ourselves if it actually lives up to all the hype.
Exactly, because like you said, there are so many mounts out there that make big promises but just don't deliver.
Totally. So before we get into the Andobil specifically, let's talk about like what actually makes a good car phone mount.
Yeah, so I think there are a few key things to consider. You want something that's super stable, obviously. You don't want your phone bouncing around or falling off while you're driving.
That's like the bare minimum, right?
Exactly. And then you want something that's easy to install. Nobody wants to spend like an hour figuring out how to put the thing together.
Totally. And of course, it needs to be compatible with your phone. Like, what's the point of a phone mount if it doesn't even fit your phone?
Right. So those are kind of like the basics. And then on top of that, you might look for some extra features depending on your needs. Like maybe you want something that's adjustable so you can find the perfect viewing angle.
Right. Or maybe you want something that can also hold your charging cable or something.
Yeah, there are a lot of different options out there.
Okay. So let's get into the Endobel. What's the first thing that jumps out at you about this mount?
Well, the first thing that caught my eye was the triple mounting option. Like you can attach this thing to your dashboard, your windshield, or even your air vent.
Oh, that's cool. So you have like a lot of flexibility depending on your car and like what you prefer.
Yeah, exactly. Like I know some people hate vent mounts because they block the airflow, but if that doesn't bother you, then it's a great option.
Right. And then if you have like a textured dashboard that might not work with a suction cup, so you can use the windshield mount instead.
Exactly. So it's nice to have all those options.
Okay, so flexibility is definitely a plus. But what about stability? Because like we were saying before, a lot of mounts claim to be super secure, but then they wobble all over the place.
Right. Yeah, and that's where the Endogill really stands out. They use this thing called nanogel technology in their suction cup.
Nanogel technology, what is that? Is it like some kind of space-age material?
Haha. It kind of sounds like that, right? But basically, it's a type of material that's designed at a molecular level to create this like super strong grip.
Okay, so it's like a suction cup on steroids.
Yeah, something like that. And the best part is it doesn't leave behind any sticky residue like some suction cups do.
Ah, that's a big plus. I hate when you take off a suction cup and it leaves that like gross sticky mark.
Yeah, it's annoying. But this nanogel stuff is supposed to be really clean.
Okay, but is there like any actual science behind this nanogel thing, or is it just marketing hype?
No, it's a real thing. They actually use nanogel in a bunch of different applications where you need like a super strong bond, like even in some medical devices. So there's definitely some scientific backing to it.
Oh, wow, that's impressive. So it's not just some made-up marketing term.
Right. And on top of the nanogel, they also use what they call military grade construction. Like the whole mount is built to be super durable.
Military-grade construction, do they like put this thing through boot camp or
Ah
something?
ha ha. Maybe not boot camp, but they do claim that it's gone through all these rigorous tests like drop tests and vibration tests and even temperature resistance tests. It's supposed to be able to withstand like all the bumps and jolts of everyday driving and even extreme temperatures.
That's good to know, especially for people who live in places with like really hot summers or really cold winters.
Right. You don't want your phone mount like melting in the sun or freezing and cracking.
Yeah, that would be a disaster.
Yeah.
Okay, so it sounds like the Andobil is pretty durable and stable, but will it actually fit my phone? Because like there are so many different phone sizes and models out there.
That's a good point, but the Endobil is designed to be universally compatible. So it can hold pretty much any smartphone, no matter how big or small. And it even works with cases.
Well, that's good to know.
Yeah.
Because I always have a case on my phone, and some mounts are just like way too small to fit a phone with a case.
Yeah, it's annoying.
Yeah.
But the Andobil has like this adjustable grip, so it can accommodate pretty much any phone with or without a case.
Okay, so it's durable, it's stable, it's compatible.
Hmm.
But how does it actually perform in real life, like when you're actually out on the road?
Well, I've been using it for a few weeks now, and I gotta say, I'm really impressed. Like for navigation, it's a game changer.
Really? How so?
Well, having your phone like securely mounted at eye level makes it so much easier and safer to follow directions. You're not looking down at your phone, you're not taking your eyes off the road. It's just right there in your line of sight.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. It's got to be way safer than like trying to hold your phone in your hand or having it like bouncing around on the passenger seat.
Right, and it's especially helpful when you're driving in unfamiliar areas or if there's like a lot of traffic.
Yeah, you don't want to be like fumbling with your phone when you're trying to navigate a busy intersection.
Exactly. And the Andobil makes it so easy to like glance at your phone and see where you need to go without taking your attention away from the road.
Speaking of easy to see, the Andobil website talks about clear view positioning and easy access design. What do they mean by that?
So clear view positioning basically means that you can adjust the mount to find the perfect viewing angle for you. So no matter how tall you are or how you like to sit in your car, you can make sure that the phone doesn't block your view of the road.
That's clever. Because I've definitely used mounts before where like the phone was just in a really awkward spot and it was hard to see the screen without like craning your neck.
Yeah, it can be super annoying.
Yep.
But with the Andobil, you can adjust it to like tilt and rotate the phone so it's always in the perfect spot.
Nice. And what about easy access design? What does that mean?
So that basically means that you can like easily put your phone in and take it out of the mount with one hand. You don't have to like fiddle with any complicated clasps or anything.
Well, that's good because I've definitely had mounts before where it was like a whole struggle to get your phone in and out.
Ah, it
Yeah.
can be super frustrating, especially if you're trying to do it while you're driving. But the Endobil is designed to be super simple and intuitive to use.
Okay, so it sounds like the Andobil is really well designed for like everyday use. But how does it handle more challenging driving conditions? Like,
Mm.
what if you're driving on a bumpy road or you have to make a sudden turn?
I actually tested that out specifically. I took it on some pretty rough back roads and even did some like quick maneuvers to see how it would hold up. And honestly, I was really impressed. Like, the suction cup never came loose and the phone didn't budge at all.
Wow, that's awesome. So it sounds like you can really trust this mount to keep your phone secure no matter what.
Yeah, I would say so. It definitely feels a lot more secure than some of the other mounts I've tried in the past.
So overall, it sounds like you're really happy with the Andobil. Did you encounter any like challenges or issues while you were using it?
Not really. Like, the installation process was super straightforward, and the mount itself is really easy to use. But I would say one thing to keep in mind is that you really need to make sure you clean the surface properly before you attach the suction cup.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Because if there's any like dust or grease on the surface, the suction cup won't stick as well.
Right, so they include an alcohol wipe in the package, and it's really important to use it to clean the dashboard or windshield before you attach the mount.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's like prepping the surface for maximum stickiness.
Exactly. And then the other thing I would say is to like take your time to find the best mounting location in your car. Like, try out different spots and different angles until you find what works best for you.
Yeah, because you want to make sure that the phone is in a spot where you can easily see it, but it's not blocking your view of the road.
Right. And you also want to make sure that you can easily reach it if you need to like adjust it or take your phone out.
Yeah, that's important too. You don't want to be like reaching across the car to get to your phone.
Right. So just take a few minutes to experiment and find the best spot.
Okay, so once you found the perfect spot, you've cleaned the surface really well. Is there anything else you need to do before you hit the road?
I would say just give the mount a good tug to make sure it's really securely attached. Like, you don't want to wait until you're driving to find out that the suction cup isn't strong enough.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's always better to be safe than sorry.
Exactly. And then once you're on the road, just remember to use your phone responsibly. Like, even though Undobil makes it easier to use your phone hands-free, you should still avoid interacting with it as much as possible while you're driving.
Right, like don't be texting or scrolling through social media while you're behind the wheel.
Exactly. Like, use voice commands if you need to make a call or send a text, and set up your playlists and navigation before you start driving. Just prioritize safety above everything else.
Couldn't agree more. Safety first. So overall, it sounds like the Endobil is a really solid car phone mount.
Yeah.
It's durable, it's stable, it's compatible, it's easy to use, and it's designed to help you stay safe on the road. What's not to like?
Right. And it's not even that expensive. Like, for the peace of mind it provides, I think it's definitely worth the investment.
Yeah, I agree. So for anyone who's looking for a new car phone mount, I think the Endobil is definitely worth checking out. All right, so we've talked a lot about the Andol specifically, but I think this whole conversation brings up a bigger question that's really relevant to all drivers today.
What's that?
Well, like we were saying at the beginning, we're also reliant on our phones these days, and it can be really tempting to use them while we're driving, but obviously that's super dangerous. So I think the question is, how can we as drivers find the right balance between using technology for convenience and staying safe on the road?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And I don't think there's an easy answer, but I think it starts with being mindful of our own habits and making a conscious effort to minimize distractions while we're driving.
Right. Like maybe we need to set some rules for ourselves, like no phone use at all when we're stopped at a red light or something. Or
Hmm.
maybe we need to be more intentional about using hands-free features and voice commands.
Yeah, and I think it's also important to remember that even hands-free technology isn't perfect. Like it can still be distracting to have a conversation or listen to music while you're driving.
Right. It's all about finding what works best for you and what helps you stay focused on the road.
Exactly, and I think the more we talk about this issue and share tips and strategies, the better equipped we'll be to navigate this new world of technology and driving.
Totally. So if you have any tips or tricks for staying safe and focused while you're driving, share them with us in the comments. We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, let's keep this conversation going.
All right. Well, that's all the time we have for today's deep dive. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for having me.
And remember, drive safe out there.